Such a nice group today. I hope you all had a great Thanksgiving break, holiday, whatever it was. If you were traveling, I hope it was good. So we are really fortunate to have Nicole Skinner with us today. Nicole is the president of the Associated Students of the University of Idaho. She's in her third year at the university, majoring in economics and political science with a minor in psychology. She has a history of political involvement ranging from campaign work to field organizing. This academic year, she's serving as the student body president with many of her initiatives revolving around civic engagement. So we're really excited to have her here with us at the League of Women Voters. And with that, I'll turn it over to Nicole.
Thank you all so much for having me here today. Well, I'm very civically engaged now. It definitely didn't always used to be that case. I grew up in a very apolitical household where it was very taboo to talk about really anything that mattered. And even now, if we're being completely honest, and even now going home, it's difficult to have those kind of conversations with my family. So it definitely wasn't from my upbringing that my interest in civic engagement and the political process was sparked. I really wouldn't be here with you today if I didn't have people taking me under my wing. So under their wings. So today I want to talk to you a little bit about where I'm coming from, how I got to my position, some of the work that myself and the amazing folks that I work with are doing, and just kind of some thoughts on moving forward and how we can engage young people and students in the political process. Because I know they're a little hard to figure out sometimes, but they're not impossible to crack. So like I said, I grew up without really talking about politics at all, and it wasn't until actually I became a work study at the University of Idaho Women's Center that I realized the impact that my voice can have on the community around me, and the fact that people were willing to listen. So like Dulcie said, I am a third-year student at U of I. My first year I came in as the Events and Programming Assistant at the University of Idaho Women's Center. The second year, I upgraded to the position of Sexual Assault Programs Assistant, and I'm a sexual assault survivor myself, so that position was very important to me, and I got to work on great events like Take Back Tonight, which is a march held throughout the country to show solidarity with survivors of interpersonal and sexual violence. So I got a really great foundation there. It was the initial spark for me, and I don't think I would have done the things I've done since if I hadn't had that opportunity. So since then, I've gotten engaged with rallies. There's a Stand With Immigrants rally, there's the Pride March in Boise. I've really just gone full in. I got to intern at Planned Parenthood, the Northwest affiliate, doing field organizing work and basically engaging young people in the process and telling them how much their involvement matters. I got to be a content creator on an upcoming feminist political blog called Pink Politics. I manage their social media accounts. I've lobbied at both the state and national levels. That picture on the bottom right there was actually taken during the lobbying trip in which Dan Foreman yelled at a group of U of I students. I was the one who posted those tweets online, so you might have seen them before. And I got to lobby for LGBTQ issues at the national level as well. So what I'm saying is, of course now I'm very civically engaged and getting some recognition for some efforts that the student government has done, but it definitely wasn't always the case. I really now place a large emphasis on bringing other people up behind me, and I think that should always be our focus, is bringing up the next generation of voters. Of course, we're awesome, right? And we're doing great things, and we're engaged, and we know what we're doing, but there are a lot of younger people who are so eager to be in the same positions that we're in. And so that's really the essence of what I wanted to talk to you about today. So I tell you a little bit of my background because for me it's important to know, for you to know that for the last few years my entire work has revolved around getting young people engaged in what we're doing. I saw that young people and students were not being represented enough in these political processes, and largely it's because a lot of the times they don't vote. People don't target students and young people because for the longest time they weren't engaging in the process at all. And of course at a certain point you need to be strategic with your resources, you need to be strategic with your campaigning, but it was just like a self-fulfilling prophecy of now these people whose voices honestly matter the most because they're our next generation are not being heard whatsoever. And so there are a few core pillars to what I've learned in organizing young people and getting them to show up to things that may not always be the most fun things to show up at. One is that they're very purpose-driven. Of course, I'm not implying that previous generations are not purpose-driven, but they really see through anything that is not. Marketing that is very superficial and insincere, they see right through it. They've grown up seeing all different types of marketing, all different types of campaign strategies and methods of communication, and they see right through it. And so we need to be approaching young people with our why, our message of why we're doing what we're doing and what they can get out of it. We need to bring them into our message and show them what their direct involvement can do for the world around them. They are very connected and informed. Obviously, this current generation has grown up with social media that is different than any other previous generation has experienced. And there are a lot of mixed theories about how this impacts young people and the way they perceive information. Of course, there are some downsides, right? I'm sure. But for the most part, this is the most connected and informed generation that we've had thus far. They are empathetic, they want to understand each other, they have endless information at their fingertips, they want to connect, and they do care about these issues, but we just need to show them where their place in these issues and processes are. They're also willing to engage. Every single time that I've opened up a platform for young people or students to engage in a campaign or a project or a voter turnout method, anything like that, they always show up. Young people are the ones that I've always been able to rely on to show up to the phone banks, to show up to the canvases. And what I hear time and time again is that no one else is even trying to connect with them. Kind of going back to what I said earlier, is a lot of that is reasonable. In the past, a lot of young people haven't been too engaged, but we are seeing a massive cultural shift right now. I mean, we even have the March for Our Lives movement, that is being spearheaded by young people, just as one that comes to mind, and they are changing the entire conversation around gun reform. Whether we like it or not, they have completely shifted the way we're talking about gun violence in this country, and that's incredible. Most of these people are not even 18 years old yet, and a lot of the leaders are as young as 20. So I think it's really important that we pay attention to them and we listen to them, because they will engage, and if we don't engage them, they will engage in other ways. And then we're going to have decentralized efforts, we're going to have people coming from a lot of different angles talking about different issues. So it's important that we work together to coordinate turnout for our events and our civic engagement efforts. And like I said, they do receive information differently than previous generations, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. But my current generation has grown up with instant gratification. They have, like I said, they have endless information at their fingertips, and that's what they're accustomed to. So if we are creating political campaigns or civic engagement efforts, and we're not engaging with them where they receive their information, like on social media platforms, then we're doing ourselves and these young people a large disservice. By not appealing to them in the way that they receive information. Because we're willing to do that for other groups, right? Like we go to other groups to try to market to them and bring them what they've been asking for. But I feel like right now, young people are being trivialized a lot of the time and being called ridiculous for wanting to receive this information digitally or things like that. When in reality, these changes have always been happening, and we've adapted to them in the past. So I think it's important that we keep up with the way that generations are continuing to receive information. And the next generation, the younger generation than me, they're receiving information differently too. And that's a whole other thing for us to figure out as well. We always need to be adapting. So throughout these last few years, obviously, I've done a lot of great things with great people that I'm very proud of. And I decided to take this skill set I had shaped into the position of student government. The student government at the University of Idaho is really a hidden gem. We have a lot more sway with our university than I think a lot of other student governments at other institutions have. The people around us, I feel like for the most part, do listen to us and engage with what we say. And so that right there is Carlos Vasquez. He was my vice presidential running mate. He's the best. And we essentially just wanted to tear everything from the ground up. We were tired of seeing the way things were being done before, even within student government. You know, it was the same issue of they're not actually appealing to people in the way they want to be receiving information, they're not being sincere with their message, and they're not actually delivering on their promises. And we were so beyond fed up with it. And so we ran on a campaign of new possibilities, and to us that meant challenging everything there was to challenge, not in a bad way, but just questioning the way things have been done before. And if we question them and then we figure out we like the way things are being done previously, great. But we found that there are a lot of things that we didn't like. We felt like even internally at the university, a lot of people were just advocating for students when it was convenient for them. And then the second that maybe like advocacy for a certain topic could yield a little bit of controversy or rub someone the wrong way, people backed off. And we really did not like that that was the way we were treating our students, and we thought they deserved more. And we felt like engaging students and accurately representing them would create a statewide shift as well. Like, we saw a potential for impact outside of our campus, and that's always been our goal, is of course within the borders of Moscow, there are so many things that can be done to make our town better and our university better, but advocating for those things benefits us in a lot of other indirect ways as well. So, we won. Ooh, a little animation. I was proud of that one, actually. So we won the election, obviously. We ran against 3 other tickets who were amazing people, but we really ran a very grassroots campaign, and we practiced what we preached for the last several years. I've been telling people a lot of the same things I'm telling you. I'm like, you need to focus on like proactive recruitment of candidates. You need to actually show up to their door and tell them what they can get out of engaging in this process. You need to talk to them and make sure that what you're advocating for are things they actually want. And then you're not just creating solutions to problems that don't exist. And so we practiced what we preached, and we spent around 4 hours every single day for approximately 5 weeks talking to every student that we could possibly run into. They got very annoyed with us, but we won. So